How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We're going to be streaming on Tuesday regarding the Game of the Year, the whole nominees. So if you do have time to tune in to that, we will be over at the Chaos Lounge. Do feel free to stop by because we have a lot to talk about. But in this video, I'm pretty much going to go over my thoughts and views on the overall situation. And I do think that there has been quite a bit of some shenanigans going on. I don't think this has been overly fair, to be honest. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is a remake. Since when do we put remakes as Game of the Year? Then we had stuff like Cyberpunk Liberty City for ongoing game. Ongoing games are for stuff like Final Fantasy 14, WoW, Destiny, Fallout 76, games that are live service. It just feels like stuff were thrown in this year that shouldn't have been there. Now, I really feel that Alan Wake 2 should have been there. In fact, from this whole list, I think Alan Wake 2 deserves to win. Those of you that have been tuning into my streams on Twitch for Alan Wake will have seen that. Spider-Man is a really mixed bag at the moment. I think it's a good game, but is it Game of the Year? I don't think so. It's also bad that no one spoke about the bugs that actually caused severe problems for players, but they also decided, hey, this is going to be great, we can just leave this in there, and all is fine. Super Mario Bros. Wonders is a good game, but is it Game of the Year? Again, I just don't think so. Baldur's Gate is going to be there because everyone's jerking off to it like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I'm not even going to get into it. The simple fact is, I don't personally like Baldur's Gate 3. It's not my Game of the Year, and it never will be because it's just not my cup of tea. It's not for me. But there are some serious omissions here that should have actually possibly been in place. And I'm not even going to get to Starfield yet. We'll leave that behind for a second. But let's talk about like the big giant in the room that completely got left out entirely because of political reasons. Because the Game Awards did not want any hassle on their hands, so they chose to omit one of the biggest games of the year, Hogwarts Legacy. Now, we all know that if that got nominated for Game of the Year, the whole LGBTQ community would have got up in arms and started to cause a lot of trouble. So in my opinion, this actually got pushed aside because of that reason. The fact that it didn't get a single nomination speaks volumes. This is pretty awful, and in my opinion, it's just downright disrespectful to those developers. And remember, we're at a time here where we're talking about respecting developers, showing them goodwill, being there for them. Yet when they perform amazing games like the Hogwarts Legacy, where even if it was nominated for Best Art, the game looks phenomenal. Nothing, not a squash, nada. There are games that were nominated this year that were way below par of what Hogwarts Legacy was. You've got Armored Core 6 as well. That deserved at least a nomination for Action Game. It didn't get it. Nothing at all. It's really depressing that there are some really big games here that didn't get a nomination. And then you've got stuff like Resident Evil 4, which is a remake. You've got Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which in my opinion is a really good game, but doesn't make that Game of the Year mark. Those two already shouldn't have been there, and I think Hogwarts Legacy should definitely have been there. And in my honest opinion, Starfield, no matter how people feel about it, should have had a Game of the Year nomination. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with this, and that is perfectly fine. But some of these games here just are ludicrous. But let's look at the facts, right? Let's just see how fair this was. The actual public get 10% of the swaying vote. The media, who absolutely hated and review bombed Starfield, were given 90% of the vote. So how did anyone think this was going to go? Then we have the media who completely trashed Hogwarts Legacy because of the whole, author for Harry Potter. I can't remember her name offhand right now. But because of her, they trashed it. I mean, Kotaku gave it a 0 out of 10. There is no way in hell that you can give a game a 0 out of 10, right? It's just not possible. Yet, those games were, for that game to hit the Game of the Year nominee would have had to go through the same media channels that gave it a 0 out of 10. It's not going to happen. It's not. So the reality is, this year's Game Awards was completely rigged. No matter how you want to put it, no matter how you want to sugarcoat it, it was rigged. It was rigged from the very go, because there's no way that me as a publication, I'm going to be basically since September putting the game down, criticizing the game, mocking the game, doing everything in my power to basically ruin any chance that that game has got. And then I'm going to go and put my hand up and say, I reckon that game should be Game of the Year after the way I've criticized it, downplayed it, and completely ridiculed it. It's never going to happen, right? Because that media bias, that Xbox tax is in full motion here. But it's not just for the Xbox tax, it's not just the Xbox tax that's in full motion here. It's the whole situation with Hogwarts Legacy as well. The fact is, that game deserved a nomination. Even if it wasn't for the Game of the Year, it deserved a nomination. Revenant, did it even get a nomination? I can't even remember. How highly praised was Revenant 2? I mean, if nothing else, I think Revenant 2 should have replaced Resident Evil 4. Like, I'm being fair here. I'm saying you don't have to put Starfield there, because that was never going to make it. Never in a million years. Simply because of the way they were treated. It's just the way it is, right? You cannot actually fathom that the people like IGN, like Metro, like Eurogamer, the list goes on, who completely trashed this, PC Gamer, who completely trashed Starfield, they were never in a million years going to turn around and say, hey, we think this game deserves Game of the Year. We really do. Can you imagine GameSpot doing that? Considering they were out there going, hey guys, we gave it a 7 out of 10 too. Can you come and give us clicks too? Yeah, we want those clicks too. Can you come and give it to us too? You think they were going to honestly do that? Of course not. This whole thing is so bad. And I think Jeff Keighley, honestly, he should be ashamed of himself, because he's actually instigated this and allowed this to happen. He has. He has totally allowed this because, as they say, the blame comes from the top, and he is at the top. I think this is just awful. I think this whole situation is just completely rigged. I think this whole, Game Awards is going to just be a sham. But honestly, there were a couple in there that I do agree with. Ben Starr, he had to get nominated, right? There's no way he was not going to get nominated. But I think he should win the best voice actor. I also think Alan Wake, I really, really hope Alan Wake takes the Game of the Year. I don't want any of the others to do it. I really hope that Alan Wake takes Game of the Year, because that will at least, bring some joy to me. If you look at the VR side of things, Call of the Mountain got a nomination. That game was getting 3s and 4s. How do you get a Game of the Year nomination when a game is so shit that no one wants to play it? That anyone that bought the VR for that game was so disappointed in themselves that they wish they could return it. How is that even possible to get a Game of the Year nomination? Please explain to me. Please. I don't understand how Jeff Keighley has allowed these games to go through. I don't. It doesn't make sense. The Cyberpunk Liberty City one for best ongoing game, it's a goddamn expansion. It's a DLC. It's not a live service. Anyway, I've ranted on enough. I think you've got my point. We're going to be discussing this again tomorrow. Like I said, I want to go live for a couple of hours and we can discuss this, but this is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Half of those games there don't deserve to be there. Even to a certain extent, Zelda is questionable. I think Lies of P, which was nominated for Best RPG, it's a Souls game. How is that an RPG? Just because you've got different abilities that you can put on yourself? What is this? The whole thing was a sham. We're going to go through the whole list tomorrow, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. But let me know what your thoughts are in the description below. Do you agree with me? Don't agree with me? I know the ponies are going to come in here and go, oh, look at him losing his shit. I'm not losing my shit. I'm just totally against this. And I think at this point, the reality is Microsoft needs to put their foot down. And I think Microsoft really needs to up the ante and, you know, start being a lot more cutthroat with these publications, with all of these shows, and just leave them in the dust because they're big enough to be able to do their own thing. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just feel like, you know, a lot of people got robbed this time round. I think Microsoft got robbed. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush definitely deserved to be in there. If nothing else from Microsoft deserved to be there, Hi-Fi Rush should have been there before Mario Super World or Resident Evil 4. That's a given, right? That's a given, but it wasn't. Hogwarts Legacy should have been there before Resident Evil. Hogwarts Legacy should have been there before Mario Super Brothers, but why wasn't it there? Because they were scared of the backlash that's going to come from the LGBTQ community. Simple as. That is literally it. Nothing else. They were scared that backlash was going to come, and so they chickened out. So basically, this whole thing has become a political enterprise. Not a gaming enterprise, a political one. And when Jeff Keighley took over and actually turned around and was so money grubbing when he heard, when E3 announced that they were closing down, my dude didn't even wait for the corpse to go cold. He immediately got onto that Twitter, immediately started going, "Ooh, baby!" And you know, the rest is clear. We clearly know why he was doing it. Because now he can push his PlayStation agenda even further. Because that is what he's doing. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion. Let's see if we can hit that 500 likes again, because you guys have been doing absolutely amazing. Don't forget to drop a sub if you're new to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. You can support me further if you choose to, and you don't have to, through my Patreon, YouTube membership, or a super thanks in the just underneath the video. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Remain legend.